Genesis is the book that opens the entire Bible. It explains the origin of the universe, of humanity, of families, of evil, of promises, and of God's chosen people. In just a few chapters, it introduces questions we still wrestle with today: purpose, freedom, guilt, hope, and the future. Today, you will understand the entire book of Genesis in a clear, direct, and meaningful way. So, let's start at the beginning. Genesis begins with a simple yet enormous statement. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The universe is not an accident. It has a beginning, a creator, and a purpose. Creation unfolds in an orderly sequence: light, the separation of waters, land, plants, stars, animals, and finally, human beings. The central point is not about how fast creation happened, but about who created it, why it was created, and how everything was arranged with deliberate intention. Man and woman are made in the image of God, with inherent value, dignity, and responsibility. Creation concludes in harmony and beauty. God looks at everything he has made and calls it very good, but the story takes a dramatic turn. In the Garden of Eden, humanity is given freedom but chooses disobedience. A serpent deceives, the forbidden fruit is taken, and the perfect world breaks. This event, known as the fall, doesn't just damage humanity's relationship with God, it creates conflict between people, between humans and nature, and even within the human heart itself. Yet, in the midst of this brokenness, the very first promise appears. One day, a descendant will come to crush the power of evil and restore what was lost. The consequences of the fall escalate quickly. Cain kills his brother Abel out of jealousy, introducing murder into the world. Violence spreads across the earth, and humanity drifts farther and farther from God. The world becomes filled with corruption, and Genesis shows us that the real problem isn't the environment, it's the human heart. Then Noah appears. He is described as a righteous man in a corrupt world. God chooses to cleanse the widespread evil and begin again. The ark becomes a powerful symbol of protection, judgment, and hope. After the flood, God makes a covenant with Noah, promising never again to destroy the earth in that way. The rainbow is placed in the sky as a beautiful and enduring sign of this promise. But soon after, humanity's pride resurfaces. They attempt to build a massive tower to reach the heavens and control their own destiny. The issue isn't the architecture, it's the arrogant pride behind it. As a result, human languages are confused, and the nations spread out across the earth. This event closes the first major section of Genesis, which covers the global story of creation, the fall, and the spreading of humanity. The second half of Genesis zooms in, following one specific family chosen by God to change the world. It all begins with a man named Abraham. God calls him to leave his homeland, promises him countless descendants, and declares that all nations on earth will be blessed through him. Abraham's journey is filled with challenges, moments of fear and doubts, but through it all, he learns what it truly means to trust God. God establishes a covenant with him, a sacred promise of land, descendants, and a divine purpose. The birth of his son Isaac in Abraham's old age proves that God fulfills the impossible at exactly the right time. Isaac grows up, marries Rebekah, and they have two sons, Esau and Jacob. Jacob, despite his many flaws and deceptions, becomes the heir of the promise passed down from Abraham. He eventually has 12 sons who will become the forefathers of the 12 tribes of Israel. Genesis makes it clear that God works through imperfect, flawed people who still possess incredible potential and a divine purpose. The final major story of Genesis is that of Joseph, one of Jacob's 12 sons. He is betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery in Egypt, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. He experiences situations that seem utterly out of control and hopeless. Yet, through all of it, God sustains him. From the depths of a prison, Joseph rises to the powerful position of governor of Egypt. In this role, he saves countless lives during a severe famine, including the very family that betrayed him years earlier. In their emotional reconciliation, Joseph speaks one of the most powerful and profound lines in the entire book. He tells his brothers, "What you meant for evil, God turned into good." This single sentence perfectly captures the heart of Genesis, even when everything appears broken, chaotic, and driven by human evil. God is sovereignly writing a larger, redemptive story. So, Genesis begins with a perfect creation in a garden and ends with a chosen family living as guests in the foreign land of Egypt. It is not a closed story with a neat ending as the foundational beginning of a much larger journey that continues throughout the Bible. From Genesis, we learn that the world has a purpose, that evil is a real and destructive force, that God's promise is still alive, and that he masterfully works through flawed human beings to accomplish his good plans. If you want to understand the rest of the Bible, Genesis is the essential key. Thank you for watching. Comment which book of the Bible you want me to explain next, and save this video so you can revisit it later. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.